Okay, so it's Order 66, and you guys bump into me in the streets of Coruscant, and I'm totally not looting stuff from the Jedi Temple because I would never do something like that. And you asked me this question, Alan, due to the events of what has happened today, which clone do you think is going to defect from the Empire, Captain Rex or Commander Cody? Well, using the knowledge I would have at that time, I can't see into the future. I don't know what happens in Rebels, for instance. I'd probably say that Commander Cody would be the one who would defect from the Empire, and Captain Rex would be the one who would stay. He, after all, is the ARC trooper who loves doing things by the books. He loves his job. I mean, you guys remember that time Rex got shot by a droid sniper on Salakami, and his squaddies stashed him in a local farmhouse nearby, which coincidentally was where the clone deserter Cutler Quain was living? Rex, at least at first, was not very empathetic about the clone deserter.
You're a deserter. Well, I like to think I'm merely exercising my freedom to choose. To choose not to kill for a living. That is not your choice to make. You swore an oath to the Republic. You have a duty.
While Captain Rex was threatening to report the clone deserter, Commander Cody was mixing it up with the likes of Clone Force 99, a very unorthodox Special Forces commando unit known for thinking outside of the box. 4 out of 5 of the members of this unit, known as the Bad Batch, would defect after Order 66 and serve as mercenaries. They even had contact with anti-Imperial factions like Saw Gerrera's Partisans and Cham Syndulla's Free Ryloth movement. Commander Cody's association with the Bad Batch has always led me to believe that the clone really likes having rebels inside of him, or that the clone has a bit of whatever, you know what I mean. But no, instead the complete opposite happens. Captain Rex puts on a heroic effort during Order 66. He almost pops a blood vessel in his brain and delays the execution of Ahsoka Tano long enough that the Jedi is able to save him and remove the inhibitor chip from his brain. The two would go on the run as fugitives from the Empire. Captain Rex would even start his own resistance movement against Palpatine. Meanwhile, Commander Cody would be contacted directly by Emperor Palpatine himself and basically be ordered to kill his commanding officer, Jedi Master ObiWan Kenobi.
Commander Cody, the time has come. Execute Order 66.
Yes, my lord.
I wonder if Palpatine did that for everyone, you know, like personally calling each clone commander in the galaxy to execute Order 66. That would be incredibly time consuming. I'm assuming that what he actually did was just, you know, call Commander Cody first as a ceremonial kind of gesture, and then everyone else gets the automated message about Order 66. Anyway, the point is, Palpatine talked to Cody directly, and the chip inside of his head directs him to order a nearby ATTE to fire its massive driver cannon at the Jedi Master. Although the shot doesn't directly hit Kenobi, it dismounts him and he falls a great distance into a pool of water. It's actually said that before he orders the tank to fire, Commander Cody curses himself for giving ObiWan Kenobi back his lightsaber before he has to kill him, which obviously makes it harder to shoot him with an artillery piece, I guess. But then I remembered a few things about Cody's situation. I remember how helpless Captain Rex and many other clones were when the order to execute the Jedi came through. We don't see Commander Cody's face during Order 66, but I imagine he was probably in a trance of some sort. Or perhaps it was a look of confusion, hurt, and anger. After all, his friend, his mentor, ObiWan Kenobi, was now accused of being a part of a Jedi coup attempt. They were trying to remove Chancellor Palpatine and basically destroy the democratic institutions that protected the Republic. You have to remember, Commander Cody swore allegiance to the Republic, and so this would have been a huge betrayal, especially when you consider what ObiWan Kenobi actually meant to Commander Cody. Commander Cody has never really been an individual who's very capable of expressing his own feelings. Even compared to Captain Rex, he was pretty stoic. When pushed into uncomfortable situations and conversations, Commander Cody would basically just shut down. And like Rex and all the other clones, Commander Cody believed that a clone's primary purpose, perhaps sole purpose, is to protect the Republic. When it was uncovered during the Battle of Christophsis that the clone Sergeant Slick had been informing on the clones to separate agents, Captain Rex was shocked, but Commander Cody, he basically stayed silent despite getting punched in the face by Sergeant Slick.
I really wish you hadn't noticed that, sir. It's Slick? Slick's the traitor?
Commander Cody is either very uncomfortable with emotions or he's just a super disciplined individual. And he's really good at self-regulating. Maybe he doesn't want to set a bad example for the men around him. After all, he is a clone commander. This is the highest rank a clone can achieve. We do know, however, that Commander Cody isn't some unfeeling psychopath. His lack of emotions doesn't mean that he doesn't care. The man genuinely does seem to really have a lot of feelings about the clones that serve beneath his command. And I would argue that Cody most likely still had some feelings for ObiWan Kenobi even after he basically ordered fire support to take him out. Not every Jedi got along well with their clone captains and commanders, but ObiWan Kenobi wasn't just any Jedi. He was probably one of the most agreeable and rational Jedi. He was predictable, cautious, and had a very defensive mindset. I mean, if you take a look at the way this guy duels, he uses Form 3, which basically involves him sitting back and letting his enemy tire themselves out against his perfect defense, which is when he moves in to attack. And so ObiWan Kenobi was always a very careful individual. Unlike Anakin and Ki-Adi-Mundi, he always was very cautious in how he deployed his clone troopers, which means he carefully thought out and planned his operations and then briefed his commanders and officers on how the mission would unfold. This is so that the clones don't just have to blindly follow him into a battle and basically try to keep up with him step by step. Which is sort of how Anakin fought, as brave as Skywalker was, as much as he cared about his clone troopers, because he did care in his own weird way. His aggressive leadership style and battlefield improvisation often led to heavier than necessary casualties. I mean, a lot of Jedi would just fight like this. They would forget that these clones are bred to be obedient to their commanding officers, and at the same time, these clones are not force sensitive. They do not have the same superhuman abilities that the Jedi have, and yet the clones will still try to keep up with the Jedi as they do unhuman or inhuman things on the battlefield. And while Commander Cody probably could have adjusted to a commander like Anakin, in many ways, he's really a perfect fit for Kenobi. The two have a very similar mindset in their approach to the battlefield. And as we've seen in other pairings, like with Rex and Anakin, a Jedi's personality and leadership style really does rub off on their clone officer. And this is why I believe that Commander Cody and ObiWan Kenobi shared mutual trust and respect for one another, something that's probably going to be very hard to just wipe away just because Emperor Palpatine said, hey, these wizards try to kill me. And let's not forget the fact that these two individuals have saved each other's lives on numerous occasions. The bonds that men forge when they're doing extremely dangerous and stupid things can create some of the most durable friendships that you'll ever see. It's something that you just can't get from going out to brunch, you know. And so yes, he was probably hurt when the news of the Jedi betrayal reached him. Commander Cody was also under the influence of the inhibitor chip. But the fact that Commander Cody didn't really spend that much time trying to pursue Kenobi and find his body to confirm that he's actually dead tells me that he's probably really uncomfortable and confused about this entire situation. And as the effect of the inhibitor chip wears off, I believe Commander Cody will reflect more about what happened during Order 66. I mean, what does Kenobi's betrayal of the Republic say about Commander Cody? Remember, this guy wasn't just a friend, he was a mentor, a father figure, a person who had a profound effect on Commander Cody's development, an individual who shared with him, you know, secrets about life, secrets about command, leadership, all these kind of things. If ObiWan Kenobi can betray the Empire, then, well, does Cody have that same potential inside of him as well? Or perhaps Commander Cody has just followed his usual pragmatic realist mindset and has just written off Kenobi as a loss, even though he might believe that Kenobi was innocent or not a part of the plot to overthrow the Chancellor. Now, in a recent trailer, we see Commander Cody talking to Crosshair.
Rumors are more and more clones have been questioning the Order.
Then they are traitors, like the Jedi.
The scene is interesting for two reasons. First, I'm kind of curious about Commander Cody's reaction to Crosshair calling the Jedi traitors. Some time will have passed since Order 66, and if Commander Cody is half as intelligent as I think he is, he'll have most likely developed some serious doubts about this part of the Imperial narrative. Commander Cody's met enough Jedi to probably understand that not all of them are going to be traitors. The second thing that's interesting here, as we talked about in our last video, is yes, the clones are beginning to question the orders of the Empire. What order they're questioning is something that we don't know. They could be questioning the order of the clones being decommissioned, or they could be questioning Order 66. From Commander Cody's point of view, it doesn't really matter exactly what order we're talking about here. It's the fact that the clones are becoming more and more discontent about their, situation, which is very dangerous for them and also dangerous for him because he is basically in charge of all of their well-being here. And say what you want about Commander Cody, but he's always put the men first. And in this case, not only do you have full-grown clone troopers, you also have younglings.
Your training will continue elsewhere.
We'll still be soldiers, won't we?
Of course. That is what you were made for.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the second season of The Bad Batch, these younglings are dangled as emotional bait to make us care more about the plight of the clones. We don't know where the clones have been moved to after Kamino was destroyed. In Andor, we see clones being deployed on Ferrix, so it's possible that these clones would still have a purpose and be deployed in more remote areas where the Empire needed manpower. Something happens in the galaxy maybe 1 to 5 years after the Clone Wars, and basically the clones kind of disappear. Well, you still see individual clones, but you just don't see clones being deployed, at the unit level anymore. Now, hopefully we'll find out more about this in the second season of The Bad Batch. If you take a look at how the story has been shaping up so far, I believe this idea of a clone revolt or suppression is going to be central to The Bad Batch show. The first season has so far focused on The Bad Batch protecting Omega. She is both the cute and innocent go-gurt of this show, and at the same time, she's also sort of a MacGuffin. The Empire wants her DNA, but the clones also need her DNA, and that's because Omega is a pure Jango Fett clone. If you think about it, her unaltered DNA is the key to survival of the entire clone trooper race, especially after the Kamino facilities were destroyed, especially after it was discovered that the clone's genetic template was slowly degrading, which is why we need Omega in the first place. And Commander Cody, well, there's a reason why in the 7th season of the Clone Wars, it was he who introduced the Bad Batch to everyone else. I believe that Commander Cody's introduction in the second season of the Bad Batch will also reveal his new character arc, his transformation from being an Imperial stooge to becoming a rebel. He'll have to come to a realization that he can no longer half-heartedly follow the orders of the Empire while the clones he loves and adores are being sidelined or worse. Eventually, Commander Cody will have to link up with his old friends in Clone Force 99 for help. It'll be really interesting to see who exactly Commander Cody is.